The desk gets a little bit messy.
No, not really. You should see my room.
You should see my... Did you just say that?
Yep.
Hello, everyone. I can't really see how many people are joining live, but... Oh, look. Hello, Eric. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Deep Thoughts. Hi, Johnny. Hello, Fish and User, whatever. They got a lot of interesting usernames on TikTok here. Hello, everyone. Okay, so... All right, so we're just going to give it a minute for some people to join in, and then we're going to get started on some real estate talk, okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we are live on Aditya's channel, on his Facebook, and then I got my TikTok over here. All right, hello. Hi, Deep Thoughts. I'm good. How are you doing? Fish says, make me rich.
Okay, Fish.
Okay, we'll try our best. Stay tuned. All right, we got a lot of people joining in on TikTok. For those of you that are on right now here, I got Gary with me here today.
Hello, everyone.
He's from the Wind City team in Windsor. We both are. We're realtors. I'm a real estate investor here. So if you have any questions related to real estate in Canada, Ontario, Windsor, make sure to put them in the comments over here and we will answer them. The topic today is kind of like market doing. Is it a good time to sell specifically? But we'll be answering any questions. So let's see. Deep Thought says, M. Shiraz, get me best investment deal, commercial one. Well, we could definitely try. Just send me a DM if you're looking for some commercial deals in Windsor. I'm sure there's some over here. So, okay. How about Alberta? I don't know too much about Alberta, but we can talk about the general rise in interest rates throughout Canada, just kind of the trends we're seeing in Canada. If you want to talk about Alberta, something that's good to keep in mind is we're getting a lot of immigrants coming in. So 400,000 every single year for the next few years in Canada. And I'm sure some of them might go to Alberta.
I've actually been hearing a lot about people talking about Alberta.
Really?
Calgary itself, yeah.
Seriously, yeah. What have you been hearing about Calgary?
Just I feel like their tenant laws are a little bit less strict than ours.
Yeah.
Just because of that, Calgary gets in there, prices aren't as insane as Toronto and Vancouver and those kind of cities, but Calgary's still a hub city, right? So that's why I feel like a lot of people do think about still investing in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's a good thing you brought Calgary up. For Calgary, I actually have a friend over there, and I think prices there are similar, if not cheaper, than Windsor. Because she was looking at a new development over there for I think it was $550. It was a new build. It was a townhouse. But if you were to get
Calgary being a hub city, that's pretty good. That's what I look at. But I think Alberta is a little bit behind just because of the weather. I've lived in Alberta for a little bit. I went to uni there for a semester.
Seriously?
Just because it was too snowy. If people can deal with that, it's not a bad place at all. Because it's a hub city.
It is. Right? That's absolutely right. It's just funny you said they're behind on the weather. It's something they can
not behind. No. Did I say behind? No. It's just I felt like they're behind Vancouver and Toronto. Not
I know what you mean.
Not
they do some Rain Man stuff.
Yeah. They do not have a computer, guys. Yet. No, not yet. Not
the technology yet, but if they figure out the weather on that end, maybe it'll be.
Well, that's a whole different conspiracy theory kind of thing. They create their own weather. Yeah, no, we're not talking about that yet. No.
I would love it for it to be like California here all the time.
Right.
Yeah, they so now that you mentioned that, Ontario and BC, they have much stricter tenant laws compared to the rest of Canada. So you can see the prices in these areas as well are insane. And I don't know if there's any correlation between those two things, but it's Vancouver, it's a whole other level. You can't even compare Toronto to it. It's crazy.
Vancouver is just mainly because they don't have the land for it.
Yeah.
They got 600,000 people in Vancouver. Can you believe that? That's it. And
really?
That's why the real estate over there is so high, because there's not enough land to build it. It's just all mountains, right?
Right.
So that's what I mean. Then another thing, Vancouver's does have one of the best climates, but like I've lived in Vancouver too, and 70% raining.
Yeah, I
Not
heard
worth
that.
it. Yeah, but like you don't get the snow and everything over there. But other than that, Vancouver like pretty nice too.
Yeah, I agree. It's funny that you mentioned the raining because they got like the rainforest there. It's like the only rainforest in the northern climate in the world or something like that. So yeah, Vancouver's nice but expensive. Harmon Randalwa says Calgary condos are a good investment right now. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, like you mentioned, Gary, it is a hub city and the prices are pretty low compared to the rest of Canada.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could definitely see why that would be the case. I think it's, oh, hello. So it's, we got a couple of questions here. Sorry. Kind of neglected the TikTok here. Okay. So Ahmed says, I want to ask a question. How can I'm guessing he's asking how he can emigrate to Canada here.
Immigration lawyer.
Yeah, I know. Just immigration lawyer. I'm sorry. We could talk about real estate, probably immigration. I know there's like a student visa. If that helps, you can look into that.
Yeah, like there's a lot of things to it. It's like if you have your own family, if you have your family here, they can like call you over. But like, I don't know if you're a student, if you want to come on a student visa or like a work visa, there's so many different things. So that's why like immigration lawyer would probably be the best.
Yeah, I don't want to give any advice on that either. Hello, Road King. Thank you for joining us. All right. If it seems like we got some people on right now, if you guys have any questions related to real estate, feel free to ask us. You're welcome, Ahmed. So yeah, if you have any questions related to real estate, ask us. Gary's a pretty successful realtor right now. How long have you been in the business now?
With the team, I think only about like what 3-4 months.
3-4 months, and I know you're like killing it with the sales right now, right?
Yeah, doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's honestly like just goes back to the team. Like the way we do our thing, it's a little different than most people how they do it in Windsor.
I agree.
It makes our job a little bit easier the way like the systems run.
Mm-hmm.
But like I just like throw it back on the team, like the way we run our deals and go through the houses, go through pretty much every little thing makes our clients feel a lot more like safer just like putting offers with us. So I think I would put it back on that. It's just not just me.
We got a good reputation, I think. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It says Yulmar. I went to the University of Windsor. Oh, very nice. Yeah, I went there as well. I went for nursing there actually some years back. Okay, so Mr. Patel, he says, nursing, yeah. It wasn't so fun once I got into the field, but it was rewarding overall. So Mr. Patel, he says, I work as a general laborer. Any chance I can buy a house? I have my wife, she works as an account manager. Well, that would depend on your income, your credit score, a bunch of other factors, your debts. I suggest you talk to a mortgage broker and figure that out because they'll be able to tell you how much of a house you can afford, and get you a pre-approval and all that. So Mr. Patel, make sure to find a mortgage broker and talk to them about that, okay? Yulmart says, oh, me too. You're a nurse too, eh?
A lot of nurses on here. Okay.
I know, lots of nurses. Yulmart, when did you graduate? University of Windsor nursing. I graduated 2018. You're welcome, Mr. Patel. Hopefully that helps you out. Miss Fish says invest. Yes, I agree. We should definitely. All right, so we're gonna kind of wait for some more questions. Oh, 2015. Oh, you're a few years ahead of me. Okay, very good. Are you interested in real estate, Yulmar? I'm gonna get to some other topics here and I'll get back to TikTok questions, all right? So the main topic for this live is it a good time to sell, essentially? Okay. So to answer that question, if it's a good time to sell in Windsor right now, I personally think it's a good time if you plan on, getting rid of your real estate investments within the next couple of years. Like the market's really hot right now. It was a little bit hotter in the summer. It's kind of simmered down a little bit, but it's still like basically at an all-time high. Again, I would say it's something depending on everybody's situation, whether it's the right time for them. But yeah, I do think it is a good time to sell now. If you're looking at holding real estate, obviously I don't recommend selling. It's always better to hold for like 10 to 20 years, right? Instead of,
as long as you're getting cash flow out of it, it's paying itself up. Yeah, for
exactly.
sure.
That's a very good point to add in there. So yes, I agree.
But yeah, just to kind of add on to that, like pretty much like if you plan on like investing long term, like they'll still keep going up. But with the whole interest rate and everything, like it being lowered, like that's what like the prices like skyrocketed, and that's why people, if like you want to take your profits, sure, like it's not a bad idea at all, like at this point, especially because now the interest rates apparently supposed to go higher, so that will make the market go sideways. I don't think it will make it come down or anything, but it will make you go sideways a little bit before eventually it's going to go up. But other than that, like if like you want to cash in on your profits, because a lot of people in Windsor, like if you invested like 3-4 years ago, like there's some profits to be cashed out on, right? So if you want to cash on that, it's not a bad time at all. But holding on, like if it's paying itself off, I would recommend just hold on to it. Like if the no money's coming out of your pocket, if you guys don't need the cash, just hold on to it. It's kind of like stocks. Like if a good stock's doing good, like people who are holding on to like Tesla and stuff at $80, it's like like $1,200. So you don't want to sell that, right? Obviously. But like if you want to cash out on your profits, like now is not a bad time, but it's gonna keep going. So yeah,
that's a very, very good point there. So Mr. Harman Randhawa, he asks, does the Windsor market still cash flow? I feel like you have to do more student rentals for the deal to make sense and make it cash flow. Sorry, were you gonna?
Yeah, I think not even just student rentals. Even some people you can find a pretty good deal that will still cash flow.
I agree.
The rental rates are like pretty up there, like pretty market rents. Like if you get the market rents in like right building, like you can still cash flow. Obviously, it won't be as good as student rentals because like student rentals.
Oh yeah, that's a whole other level there. Yeah.
So yeah, like if you want a lot of cash flow, student rentals is the way to go. I know people who are getting about like $1,000 per unit kind of thing, right? So so
I agree. Sorry to add on to it. Like you mentioned, I actually had a call with a client today, and he was from Cambridge, and we were comparing the rents between Windsor, Cambridge, Toronto, and it's almost the same. Like Cambridge and Toronto are a little bit, isn't it weird? Because like Windsor has pretty high rents compared to like how much you can buy a property here.
Your property's worth like 30% of the Toronto property.
Exactly.
Like 30%. Like, I would say half, but no, it's less than half.
That's exactly it. Like we're almost at Toronto rents here, and the prices are less than half.
I mean, most of our calls are literally about like, hey, could you still find a cash flow property in Windsor? It's like, yes. Like I know you guys can't do that in like Toronto, but like it's very possible still over here.
Exactly. That's it. It's hard. It is harder in Toronto and the surrounding area. But Windsor, I recently bought a property during the peak here, right? So that was like summer when things were really hot. Okay. And once I'm doing a little bit like some creative work in here, so I'm going to be building a basement unit in a tiny home, and I'm living in one of the units. So even with me living in one of the units, I'm going to cash flow after the mortgage. So I think it's going to cash flow maybe about $300-500 a month with me living in one.
You're living for free and
making money. That's it. And if I were to rent this unit out, this could easily cash flow for over $2,000. So of course it takes like some creativity on your part, and you're going to have to build onto it, right? But sure. You can cash flow in Windsor. I intend on buying in Windsor for a lot more.
I think we touched up on this last week too. Windsor is kind of somewhat of a hub city too. Detroit being right there, and especially like no other places are in Ontario are left that are even affordable anymore.
Right.
So Windsor, there's still room to grow.
Windsor definitely has a lot of potential left. Like even just looking at the rents, even if you're not too sure about the market, I mean, to the future value, like you just look at the rents. Like, okay, if I'm not sure about the appreciation, it's still paying itself off right now. Exactly.
Right? Like if you're not sure if it's gonna go up, it's still a property that's paying itself off just because of the market rents, right? So
exactly. As long as you make net cash flow on it, or even break even with a little bit extra, you should be fine no matter what the market does. This is why I always reiterate: run your numbers correctly, and you don't have to worry about the market. So let's get to some other questions here. So Harman, he asks again, you would have to, or he says, you would have to spend 1.5 mil in Vancouver, BC to rent it out for $3,600 a month. Yep. Yeah, it's insane. See, in Windsor, to rent something like that out, that's like a duplex over here, right?
Yeah.
Or even like this property I'm doing right now, that's going to cash, or not cash flow, but gross rents are going to be close to, I think like 4,500. So, and I'm the property costs like 500,000, and then I have to put maybe 200 grand in renos and whatever. So 700, and you're cash flowing more than BC, right? So it's like, it's something to think about, right? Definitely. But yeah, so very, very good input there, Harman. Thank you for all the questions. Let me get to TikTok over here. Fish asks, I can buy a commercial property in Ontario. Yeah, definitely. We definitely have a lot of commercial property.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, not too much to say.
What did he say? Can we buy a commercial property? Is that what he said?
He seems surprised that he can. I like it. I mean, can we? I don't know.
Yes, we can.
You're right. Yeah, we can buy commercial property if we want. If you're interested, hit me up. You know, we got some good ones in Windsor too. So I like these questions. They make me laugh sometimes.
Can we? The thing is, like, the tone isn't really that clear. Like, it just takes that one grammar mistake for the
right,
whole sentence to be, like, you know,
to throw us off. Yeah, I agree. All right, let me see if I missed any questions here. If not, I'm gonna get back to the main subject here. Thank you all for joining us. Again, if you have any real estate related questions for all those new people that joined, feel free to put them in there. Okay, here we go. Wolf of Crypto, I like that username. Okay. Is it bad to approach an agent and say, sell my house for this number, which is high? Is that bad?
It doesn't hurt. I mean, yeah, just say, and then we'll run some comparables and we'll let you know if it's worth it.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's not bad though. Like, give it a shot.
Yeah, I mean, like, normally when clients come up to us and or to Gary mostly, they ask.
It's mostly like, yeah, you just gotta run the comparables, like, to see what properties near your house sold for, and right. That's how we'll know. Like, that's how we'll be like, hey, this is how much your house is worth.
Right.
But if, like, you have a possible, like, good reason for you to say, hey, like, my house is worth $1 million, like, if your comparables, like, they check out, then I'll be like, yeah, sure, I'll list it for $1 million. But exactly. It just depends. It's just the market value of your house, and that's what it's going to go for.
That's right. Yeah, exactly what Gary said. Like, you can tell them your expectations, and your realtor will tell you if it's realistic or not.
For sure.
So yeah, definitely go approach an agent. They won't. They
you
won't,
do you.
You do you. Exactly. Good one, Gary. I like that. Okay, let's see what other we got. Hi, what do I need to start in real estate investing? Any advice? Bing Kelly. Well, it would obviously, if you want to get started in real estate investing, would depend like on a lot of factors. Like, what are you? Yeah. I get this question a lot. The first thing I would think of is, what are your goals in life? Like, what do you want to accomplish out of real estate investing? Do you want financial freedom? Like, do you want to keep working your job and just like slowly build up wealth over 20 years? Do you want cash flow? You have to kind of figure out what you want first, and then start finding property criteria that meets those needs. So if you're starting out brand new, I suggest you do that. And once you find that criteria you want, go learn as much as you can about it. That's a good place to start, I think.
Yeah, no, I'll agree with that. Like, if you don't even know, let's say like, oh, I want a cash flowing property, that's a whole different thing. And if you want a burst strategy kind of thing, that's a whole different thing, because You're not going to get money right away from a burst strategy, right? Exactly. You're going to have to put some money into it. It's going to be vacant for a little bit. Mm-hmm. It just depends on what you're looking for. But yeah, like, if you're working, like, you're going to have a different kind of schedule to like even look at the properties, or even like go on from like the future thing. So yeah, it just depends on what kind of situation you're in.
Yeah, exactly. I definitely agree with that. Okay, let's see. We got more questions here. I hope that answers your question, Bing. Okay, so Wolf of Crypto, he says again, built in Woodstock 10 years ago and sold 2 years ago and moved to Woodsley and want to flip again. Okay, very nice, very nice. So you're looking for flips, is that right, Wolf of Crypto? Are you? Let me know if you're interested in the Windsor area. Just DM me. I'll send you to. Yeah, I mean we got flipping opportunities here.
Out of the Woodstock.
Right. Right. So okay, let's see. Being Kelly says rental property. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so Zen Toshi says, is it better a few houses or one building with several apartments if they both cost the same? I do have an opinion on this. So they're basically asking.
Sorry, what did he say?
He's basically asking for financial freedom. Okay. He's asking if it's better to buy multiple single family homes or just one big building. For me personally, I like multifamily. Like for my
big building.
Yeah, I like big buildings. I like single family and apartment buildings or multifamilies. They each have their pros and cons. So for apartment buildings, like if you were to, let's say you buy a 5-unit instead of 5 houses, right? So for the 5-unit, you're probably going to get higher turnover than with single family. Single family is nice because you typically don't have to worry about it. When you move tenants in, they kind of treat it like their home. Like a single family, you have longer term tenants, which is nice. Some might not say so in Ontario because of like the rent guidelines and all that, but that's one advantage I can see. With the multifamily, it's obviously an advantage because it's all in one spot and you only have to worry about the one building.
Yeah.
And it becomes like even more of an advantage the bigger you get in multifamily. Like once you get to the 20 plus units, you could even like get a live-in manager that does everything for you there. And if you have employees in that, then you can like start looking into corporation benefits and all that. So I personally prefer multifamily over single family homes. The only single family home I bought was like for my personal. So yeah, I mean, that's my opinion. Do you like have any thoughts on that as well?
Yeah, I kind of do actually.
Okay.
Because my brother-in-law kind of asked the same question.
Mhm.
He's looking to invest right now, and he's like, dude, like, what do you want to do? Like, what would you rather have? Like, couple duplexes and a triplex here and there, or like let's just like invest in the bigger project, right?
Right.
And I literally said the same thing. If we're worried about like going to different projects and collecting different rents and all that stuff,
Right.
then it's like, okay, then duplex or triplex is a way to go, because I feel like you can get a little bit more money out of those two.
Right.
But if you're worried about the headache and you're a busy guy and like, you know, you want different projects, not different projects, just like one project with like all your money in it,
Right.
it's obviously the way to go.
Mhm.
But another thing about Windsor multifamilies is that I feel like the rents are a little bit below market. Most of the multifamilies that are on MLS right now, that's what I tell my clients mostly is like, hey, these rents are, in my opinion, a little bit below market. You'll see like a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom unit going up for like $900.
Yeah.
Right. So the main thing about like if you're gonna go on multifamily, like a bigger building, your plan should be just to get how I would be able to get it to market rents,
Yeah.
and that's when you'll get like the most money out of that multifamily.
I agree.
Other than that, single family homes, they're not bad at all either. Like literally what Milena said, they'll treat it like their homes because they're gonna move their entire family in there.
Mhm.
They're gonna like live there for a bit. It's like a little bit longer term tenants. But like if you have like a duplex or triplex or any other multifamily, it's gonna be a rental property at the end of the day because that's what they meant for their investment properties, right?
Right. Exactly. That's exactly it. And another thing I want to add about the single family homes is you're not going to see as high a cash flow as with the multifamilies. Like in Windsor, we do have like a lot of multifamilies that are below market rent. And with, you know, the current tenant laws, it's kind of hard to, you know, get it up to market rent. So that is definitely a challenge.
Duplex, like even like, some duplex and triplex are still below market rent and they won't sell for the market value just because of that.
Right.
Because we can't kick them out. Normally people can't kick them out unless your buyer's moving in. Like, exactly. I recently closed on a deal with one of my clients, like way below market rent, $800 per unit, and both the units were 3 bedrooms, like about 3 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. That's way up there, right? Yeah. But she's moving in, so we were able to get vacant possession for that, so which is good for her, right? But like not a lot of buildings, people can't say I'm moving into this building, right? So they're gonna have to assume the tenants at the market rent, and that's
That's exactly it. Yeah. So, I mean, that's our little tidbit on single family versus multifamily. Depends on the building, depends on the single
depends on
family.
the rent mostly.
The rent,
Depends on the
yeah,
rent mostly.
Yes, exactly. So good question. Very good question. I'm going to come back to YouTube over here and see what questions they got. Let's see. Is winter bad in Windsor? A lot of snow. Also, is there any off-market multi-unit apartment building for sale right now?
Okay, about the weather thing, like,
dude,
I've been to most through Canada. I think Windsor is the most stable weather I've ever seen. The
agree.
only one thing I would say, it gets windy out of nowhere sometimes.
Yeah, it's today.
That's the only thing I noticed. But like, I've lived in Vancouver for a bit. I've lived in Calgary. I've lived in no, that's pretty much it. Those are it. But Calgary, like, I hated the weather. It snows way too much. It's just not worth it. Vancouver rains too much. When I got here, like, I hated the wind. Don't get me wrong. Like, windy, it's not like Vancouver. Like, you're a little bit like a milder climate too, so the wind doesn't hit you as much. But when I got here, like, it was like piercing through my skin, right?
Yeah.
Right when I got here, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna like it. But eventually, when I saw it was sunny like 80% of the days, versus Vancouver being like rainy 70% of the time, I was like, okay, I'm happy with the wind. I don't care, right? I
agree. Like, I think another reason why Windsor is such an untapped market is, like, I think we have the best weather.
Yeah, it doesn't even snow that much. Like, this winter, I bet you we're gonna get like 3 snow days. Like, last year was the same, right? I think it snowed in like March.
Right.
Right? Like, little, super late.
Right.
But yeah, like, Windsor has like one of the better markets. I think it's a little different than Toronto. Like, I've seen Toronto get snow and we don't get snow. And
right, I agree. Yeah, it depends on the year, but I think winter is definitely mild. You do get snow, but I want to say we average like maybe 5 snow days at most throughout the year. Yeah. So yeah, it's good weather. In terms of, is there any off-market multi-unit apartment buildings for sale? Just contact like the Wind City team. We do have some off-market deals sometimes. So yeah, definitely go on the Wind City team, or if you're on TikTok, DM me and I can hook you up and see what we can do for you. So I hope that answers your question there, Harmon. It is harder to find off-market deals nowadays because everybody's looking for a deal, right?
Yeah,
so
for sure.
It doesn't hurt to try. Thank you for asking. It doesn't hurt to ask. All right, let's see. We got some more questions here. So it says Wanye Kest. I like that username.
Wanye Kest.
That's a good one. So he says, I have the option to buy the house next to mine. I want to rent it out to my uncle. Good idea. I normally, personal opinion, it obviously depends on your situation, but I keep money and family separate.
Yeah.
If I were to have my family. I have a
good story about this, but yeah, you go.
I was just going to say, if I were to have my family live in a unit or something, I wouldn't expect rent from them. If they stopped paying, it wouldn't be a big deal to me. If you're going to rely on that money, it could really break down a relationship. That's just my opinion. But of course, it depends on your personal situation, right? You got some thoughts on this?
Yeah, I got a little story about this. Gosh. I don't know how close you are with your uncle or anything, but I had a story that the seller told the tenant, who was like a family relative and whatever. They're like, hey, if you just touch up the place, do a little bit of renovations, and if you guys want to continue living here, you guys don't have to pay the rent. They did all the renovations, they did all the good stuff. They put it up on the market like a year later.
Oh,
so I know you're gonna be in control of that situation, but with family it's a little different. I wouldn't, like you said, if you're gonna be expecting rent from them and they're your family, let's say they're a month or 2 months late, and you can't just be like, okay, give me the rent or I'm gonna kick you out because he's your uncle.
Yeah, that's right.
I would prefer not mixing family with unless you're there your close family and you live with them already and you just that kind of thing. But yeah,
I agree. People can be very good people, very good family members, but they're not good with money. So you don't want to ruin a relationship based on that. So that's just our opinion. It's up to you though. You do you. So I hope that answers your question. Wanye Kest, I really like that name. You're welcome, Santoshi. Does anybody else have any questions on real estate for all of you that are new to joining this live. Any Canadian real estate questions, just put them in the comments here and we'll answer them. Let's see. So we're going to wait for more questions to come in. In the meantime, we'll get back to the main topic. So is it a good time to sell? I put a story on my Instagram yesterday and I got a lot of responses from it. I did not expect it. I thought like everybody would say it would be a good time to sell. And surprisingly, it was like 67% that said it was a good time to sell. And the rest of them said, no, it's not a good time to sell. Okay. So I'm wondering like what people are expecting out of this market. Like if for the people that are thinking of selling, like what are they concerned about? So the first thing like I gathered from my messages is like they don't want to sell because they're afraid they might not be able to find a house of comparable value, right? So that's like a good one, right? Okay. So what are your thoughts on that? Like if somebody were to sell their house and they want to move into like a better house, how would they go about doing that? Is it possible? Like what do you think on that, Gary?
So if they want to sell their house and move into a comparable house?
Or a better house. I mean, I wouldn't want to sell my house for a comparable either.
Yeah, for a better house, yeah, like you may have to pay a little bit because it is a seller's market at the end of the day, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so expect to pay a little bit more for like the better house.
Right.
I mean, yeah, it's still a seller's market. So seller's going to get the expectations that he's still looking for. So if that's your main goal, like expect to pay a little bit more.
Right.
But other than that, like it all comes back to even you'll get the sales price that you want too, right?
Right. Exactly.
So it's kind of win and lose in both situations.
And another thing I want to mention as well, now that you mentioned that it's going to be a higher price. So if you sell your personal home, and I believe this is correct, you don't have to pay capital gains on it if it's your personal home, right? So that's one advantage of selling a personal home and moving into another one. If it's an investment property, obviously you're going to have to pay 50% of your profits for capital gains. But so where was I going with this? Sorry, I just saw a question. Average house price in Windsor. Okay, so if you were to move, the average house price right now is $580K according to, I believe it was Aurea stats or something like that. So 580,000 in Windsor for November, if I remember correct. I did a video on this recently comparing the major cities.
That's why you're just like right on the dot.
Yeah, right on the dot. You can look it up.
5.81, 33 cents, and 15. Yeah.
I have a video on this if you guys want to see it. But it's 580 about average home price in Windsor. But as I was saying, so if you were to upgrade your house, you don't pay capital gains on the first one, and you could apply a down payment to the next one, right? Exactly. So that's how you would be able to move into a bigger house, but you're going to have to get a mortgage. Exactly. That's the thing. What I would do if I had a good single family home that I've been living in for at least a few years, this is my investor side of me talking. I'd sell it for no capital gains and then buy a couple of investment properties with the down payment because I feel like it's such a good opportunity. But
where are you gonna live?
I don't know, on the streets, some rent a bed.
My car.
You can like get a duplex.
There you go. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, that would be nice. Right. Like, you can live in one of the units and then rent out the other three. So,
exactly. That's what it is. Yeah. So.
For sure.
If I were in that situation, that's what I do. But a lot of people don't want to live next to tenants and all that, and I totally get it.
Honestly, that's if anything, it's a good thing in my opinion, living next to the tenants, so that way, like they'll kind of behave.
They'll behave.
They'll behave in your property.
They won't. Or they won't. They'll just knock on your door incessantly. Like,
I need some sugar.
All right, let's go back to answering some questions here. Okay, now we got a lot coming in. Just give us a minute. So. Is Windsor's future rental occupancy expectation good enough to invest now into a duplex or something similar? What would be the investment requirement and cash flow? What would that look like? Thanks. So I'm guessing he's asking how is the rental market, like the vacancy rates and all that. So from what I know, the highest the vacancy rates have gone in Windsor, and this was in 2008. So like we were at the bottom there. I believe it was 8%. And now we're like under 1% now. I just recently filled in a vacant unit and I had over 100 applications for it. So, and I was just talking to another landlord yesterday who had like 100 applications his first 2 days. So, and it was for market rent too. So I think for rental occupancy and vacancy, you're not going to have like any concerns with finding tenants. We're going to see like a lot more immigrants coming in as well. So they're going to need rentals. So I think like the population is going to keep growing and we're going to need more rentals to support the growing population. So I think like vacancy rates are going to be fine. In terms of what would the investment requirement and cash flow look like, I'm not quite sure how to answer. Like if you're talking about future cash flow in Windsor.
It depends on where you go to.
Yeah.
I mean, if you end up getting a duplex like near the university area and then you end up just getting student rentals, like it just sky's, I mean,
that's a good point.
Sky's the limit, right? Like over there, like you say you own rent, but like average, like if it's a nicely renovated unit, 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom unit, like average price I tell my clients is like 1,500 to 1,600. But that's like a nicely renovated unit with like all the appliances that you could use. But yeah, that's what I would hope for. And average duplex price that too, it all depends. Like I saw a duplex that went to sale for like $375 last week, and the highest I've seen is like up to $600. So how big it is and stuff, that always matters too.
Right.
But yeah, like duplex, I feel like multifamilies, most of them do cash flow as long as you get the market rent. Most of them do. The single family is a little bit harder because it's just one lease coming in, one, you know.
I agree.
But yeah, duplexes like multifamilies normally do cash flow.
Yeah, I agree exactly with what Gary said there. Okay, so I hope
that like I know he wanted like exact number on the cash flow, but it's just like it's so hard. Like I don't know where you're going to be purchasing. I don't know what's the size going to be and stuff.
Exactly.
But like the smaller ones obviously going to go for a little bit cheaper. That's why like they end up being cash flow positive, right?
Exactly. I hope that kind of answers your question, Deepak, there. So let me see. So Prasad says, how's the Amherstburg market? I know it's hot there too.
I got outbid by like $70,000 like last month. We went one of those properties. Yeah, we went no conditions. We did our own like.
Oh, that was the one. Was that the one like last?
No, that was a different one.
Okay, that was a different one. Just getting outbid
I lost both of them.
Oh man, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, people go like to crazy levels. Like they're setting up new bars for the neighborhoods.
But Amherstburg is like a nice little town too, though.
Yeah,
like those lots are insanely big, and like those are nice little homes. Like where like people like coming up from like Toronto area where like every lot's like so compacted together, they don't mind paying that extra $70,000-$80,000, you know.
Exactly.
So yeah, but I actually really like Amherstburg. It's one of my favorite places like around here, just because it's like right beside the river and everything. Like it's a nice little town. I like quiet places, so it's definitely nice.
I agree. Yeah, it's definitely, and it's near Windsor, which is like a hub basically, and then it's near.
Yeah, it's not the best rental market though. Like if you're gonna live there, sure, it's not. It won't be the best investment in my opinion, because like Windsor is still we were 30 minutes away, 35 minutes away still.
Yeah, it's about a half hour. Yeah, right? It's about there.
Yeah, so we're still a little bit away. So if you're gonna planning to be working in Windsor or Detroit, or like if you're gonna plan to rent it out, you may want to like think about Windsor, a little bit more close to the city, more amenities and stuff. So
yeah. It would depend on what you want. Like I know some nurses. I used to work cross border, right, as a nurse, and I knew some nurses that owned houses in Amherstburg and Essex, and they would drive into work. But they only had to work, 3 days a week, right? So like it wasn't a big deal to be, a half hour extra away from the border. Again, depends on your situation, but I like Amherstburg as well. I think that town has a lot of potential left, and again, it's like if you want quiet.
Those lots are beautiful.
Yeah, I love
the lots are beautiful.
Exactly,
like, so nice. Like big ass lots over there. Like I love it.
I agree. So I'm going to go back to the TikTok over here. Let's see what questions we got. Oh, we got a lot coming in. Okay, so rough price of a 2-bed, 1-bath in Windsor. That would depend on condo, area, detached, semi-detached. 2-bed, 1-bath. I'm trying to think of like some.
Honestly, a detached property, you can get that under $350 probably. probably. A
350,
detached, yeah, like
yeah.
and even in like a decent neighborhood. Honestly, neighborhood depends too. Like
Maybe
I've
like
seen,
a B minus neighborhood or something, right?
yeah, B minus neighborhood.
Yeah.
If it's like East Windsor, not East Windsor, like South Windsor or something, like it's gonna be a little bit higher. Like you can aim for like 450 plus, but like a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom, you can look for like 350K. B minus neighborhoods for sure.
I agree. Yeah. So maybe around 350. I hope that answers your question there. That's a weird question. Sorry. Let me keep looking here. Okay, so I I am new to Canada. What can I do to gather a down payment here? It's a huge amount. There's two similar questions here. So it said, I'm going to answer this one by Matt and you first, and then I'll get to you, Pratik. So Matt and you asked, what's actually better, 5% down payment or higher? I have an opinion on this as well. So
everybody does.
Everybody does. Everybody. So every investor. Yeah. So I personally believe a lower down payment is better as long as you're not, like, if you're comfortable with that sort of leverage and you're not over leveraging yourself. So obviously the lower amount of money you put into a property, your return on investment is going to be higher. Yep. Especially with these interest rates. Like we're under 2% right now, right? I think I got like 1.75 on one of my properties and then like 1.69 or something on my other property. Like I am borrowing money at the rate that banks give for their like savings account, right? So like it's kind of like free money essentially, right? Yep, so the less money you put down, the more money you can make with that minimal amount of money. So that's what that kind of means with return on investment. So I personally think the less you put down, the better. That means you can invest into even more properties that give you cash flow, right? Yep. So do you have anything to add to that?
That's you pretty much just stole my answer.
I saw, okay, good.
But
I'm like, I gotta steal
every time like you ask a good question, I was like, yeah, this is what I'm gonna say. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna say everything Gary's gonna say. So that's all awesome. But like it's exactly what she just said. You can buy more properties, and honestly, that's the catch for me. Like you can get way more properties with going 5 down, and so on and so forth.
Exactly.
But yeah. I agree with her.
I hope that answers your question, Matthew. And as for Pratik, I'm new to Canada. How can I get a down payment, basically? Well, there's a couple ways. So first of all, you can save your own money. There is the option to put 5% down into a property you're going to live in. I actually have a video on.
It depends. If he's not a PR, then it's a whole different story. He said he's new to Canada, right?
So that I didn't catch that.
Yeah, so if you're new to Canada, you have like a different system that you're gonna work under. That unless like you already have like a work permit here, like that pretty much says that you can actually kind of live here. Mm-hmm. But other than that, like it's a little bit of a complicated situation that you're in. I would probably talk to a mortgage broker about that. Like they'll probably answer you a little bit better. Mm-hmm. But like you being, you're probably like you just said, like he said he's new to Canada.
He's
right?
new to Canada, so, yeah.
There's a lot of variables into that one for sure.
Yeah. So what Gary said, do look into a mortgage broker. If I could expand on it as well, like if you are a permanent resident or anything, you can put like 5% down on a property you're going to move into. But yeah, talk to a mortgage broker about that. Okay, so
yeah, because I think technically, if you're not a permanent resident, you have to go 30 or 35% down.
Really?
So okay. That's a big thing. That's a big catch. But if you have like a work permit or something like that says that you kind of belong here, kind of thing, right. Then like you do have an option to go 5% down. But that's why it's like talk to a mortgage broker and tell me or just tell them like your whole situation, and nothing he'll be able to help you out.
That's a good realtor thing to do. Refer to a professional. Yeah, that's always like a recurring.
Give the headache to them, right?
Right, exactly. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, the mortgage broker will tell you exactly what you need to know there. Okay, you're welcome for the answers. Let's see if we've got any more questions on YouTube here. There's a lot of questions coming in. Do you see, so Suk asked, do you see house prices rising in the spring of 2022? So obviously we can't predict the market, but normally the spring and summer months, they do get hotter. we don't we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a tricky question, especially with the interest rates and stuff, and like it's so unclear how they're going to rise them, how like there's no actual plan for it.
Right.
So that's why it's just like, yeah, like I personally think they won't come down, in my opinion. Nothing's gonna come down. There's no market crash, there's no bubble, don't worry about that. But actually, don't
we don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
The factors are showing that it probably
it'll be
isn't
stable.
Down,
I don't think it's gonna skyrocket again because it's spring kind of thing. I think it'll be like normal, like kind of sideways for a bit. But you know what? Who knows? What if it just keeps going? And like most of our calls are still like out of town investors. That can't afford it over there and they want to buy it over here, so they don't mind paying the extra like 30, 20K, right? And I feel like if once the comparables are still being outbid by 10, 20K, the market could just keep kind of going.
That's what's happening, right?
So like every comparable is getting beat by like 5 to 10K. So if the pattern continues, market will still keep on going, right? But just logically, like the interest rates apparently they're going to go higher and all that. Logically, I think it's just going to go sideways, but no one knows.
Nobody knows, but factors are showing it's either going to stay or go up. As far as we can see, who knows with this new like Omicron or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's
so who knows what's going to happen? But okay, so Kevin, so for everybody joining that's new on TikTok, we're talking about real estate, specifically in Canada. I'm a real estate investor. Gary's a realtor, and I'm becoming a realtor. So if you guys have any questions related to that, please put them in the comments over here. I'm going to go to YouTube right now. So Rocking says, what's the scenario of Vancouver's real estate market? So all I know is it's very hot. I know there's not a lot of supply, but we're in Windsor, so I can't really give an educated answer on that.
From what I know, like Vancouver's through the roof, but even the cities nearby, like Surrey, Amherstburg, Chilliwack, like even they're blowing up. I think Chilliwack was like the last place that's left. Chilliwack is like the Windsor of BC, from what I remember.
Windsor of BC.
Like it was like literally the last place near Vancouver that's like ready to blow up, and even like Chilliwack itself like blew up. But I know like most of you guys like probably don't know much about Windsor, so all these names are just like.
Yeah, I know.
Right, but like no, like even Windsor, like even over there, BC market. I think the main reason why it's blowing up is because the supply isn't as high as Ontario. There's not many people living there because it's mountains. Like it's harder to construct homes out there. So that's why like once the supply is going down, the market just like kind of blowing up kind of thing.
You know, it's funny because like Windsor and the surrounding areas are like completely flat, right? So you would think there would be more development, but they're not building enough here, man. It's like
they'll start. Once they start running out of places, like, there's a housing crisis. That's why like they passed the new bill for like the additional dwelling units.
That's right. Yeah.
So like they'll get to it, but also like the construction prices aren't the cheapest either, right? Like people aren't having like. I think I told this on our last live stream. Like my sister guys wanted to build a house. It's like. It was more logical for them just to buy an already built house, and it was way cheaper.
You mentioned the development fee too, wasn't it? Like 90 grand or something
higher,
crazy?
like 1.3 mil. And this was last year.
Was just the development, like just for the development fee. Like that's not even including like construction, because like construction would be like 1.3, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like they had to pay for the lot separately too. Like it's just like you might as well buy a already built home. So maybe like if they're a little bit flexible on like the contracts, are a little bit flexible on that, because I know it doesn't take that much to build a house,
right?
But at the end of the day, like it's just finding the right deal kind of thing, right?
I agree. It's just like there's such a huge barrier to entry to develop right now. I know,
it's insanely high.
It's just the development fees that you have the permit fees, the development fees,
and the permit they're not like clicking, like
exactly.
There's a waiting period on that too. I don't know why it's like COVID too. Like that's what another thing. Like I just kind of grinds my gears and think about like it's like we're on a pandemic, but your guys is like every process is even slower. So everybody's at home. You guys are out working. Like you guys are busy working, right? Busy bees, but you guys can't even pass my permit that I sent in like 2 months ago. So. I don't know.
You're working in your pajamas. Why aren't you passing my permit? This is what you're. But it is taking longer. Like even for Like I've heard of them, like the ADU permits passing like 3 to 4 months or something like that, right?
And if you need a variance even longer and like
right, exactly. So yeah, it's a little bit crazy. Okay, let's see what else we got going on. So okay, so Suk asks, what does a basement apartment rent for 2-bedroom legal in Windsor, and what is the cost to legalize your basement? So I guess I could kind of answer this because I'm actually doing this right now, a 2-bedroom in kind of like South Walkerville. So we're expecting to rent this out for at least $1,600, and this is in a pretty good area, right? So I think it might even go up to $1,800 or something if we include the utilities. So that's like, I mean, that's typical in like I want to say B plus area. Maybe 16 to 1,800. I've seen somebody rent them out for like 2,000 for a 2-bedroom in South Windsor. Yep. Over 2,000. Like they're going for a lot.
Basement's a little lower, but like upper floor is like 2 bedrooms, 1 bathroom. You can go up to like 2,000 in the South Windsor area for sure.
100%. I definitely agree with that. So for the cost to legalize your basement, if you get a guy to do absolutely everything for you, like Savio, he's your basement guy, right? He'll do like the permits, he'll do the drawings, he'll do the construction, absolutely everything. You're looking at around $120,000 for that. If you do it yourself, like get the drawings, the permits, like I'm looking at maybe 70, but it's a pain in the butt, like dealing with the city and getting all that together and, working with contractors. So
that's another thing. Like he's done this so many times that like once an inspector comes and sees it's Savio's job,
right?
It's like, all right, he already met to go. But like once he sees Melena's doing it,
he's like, no, big X right there. Yeah. So that's exactly it. You gotta get a good guy to do it. It's maybe like $120,000 or so. Check out Savio if you're thinking of building a basement unit. He's like the guy to go to. Okay, so we got more questions. Let me see. I'm gonna look at TikTok for a bit, and then I'll come back to YouTube. We got about 8 minutes left. Cap rates around Ontario. I can't really cover that in 8 minutes. But
every building has its own, it just depends on the area and stuff.
Exactly, that's it. So it depends on the area. So, and I typically like to look at ROI rather than.
But on average, I would say most of these like buildings, like when I do my calculation, they're higher than 5 to 6%.
Yeah,
which is pretty good, which is pretty decent. I mean, like technically, like I know bigger cities are like up to 2 to 3, like max, right?
Yeah.
But like not bad. I've even seen like 8.6. I think there's actually a listing up for, I think it's like 14 units up for $1 million.
Oh my gosh!
Like
where is that? Let me see.
Wyandotte.
Why really?
I have a video tour. Whoever needs a video tour.
Oh my god!
But I have a video tour scheduled on Saturday for that, so we'll see how like good it is in person. With listed for $1 million, and
that's pretty cheap for 14 units.
That's why I think it's gonna go a little higher than asking price.
Yeah.
There's an offer day coming on the 21st, so it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. But I have a viewing on Saturday, so I'm actually excited to see how it looks in person.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll probably talk about that on the next live or something.
Sure.
So
bought it by then, but
somebody else will buy. Yeah, get in contact with Gary if you guys want to look at some multifamilies in Windsor. Okay, so I want to start with Airbnb. Okay, I'm gonna go to YouTube and then I'll come back to TikTok here. So could you please provide some insights into Calgary versus real estate for investment purposes and future growth? Okay, I'm gonna answer this real quick because we got some other questions to go.
Calgary and what? Sorry?
Calgary and Windsor, if you wanted to.
No, you can go first.
Okay, all right.
No, I keep zoning out on all the questions because I'm reading this, but
I know we got so many questions.
Sorry, yeah.
It's okay. I know Gary's got like a couple deals going on too, so we're trying to like work with both.
Yeah, I'm getting emails and like I'm replying to them while I'm talking to you lovely people.
So anyways, Calgary versus Windsor. I know Calgary is like a little bit cheaper than Windsor. I don't know too much about Calgary, but I know Windsor, we still got a lot of potential here. We got the bridge coming, the hospital coming, a lot of new immigrants coming in. Supply is not keeping up with demand. Like lots of potential here in terms of investment purposes, and we still have cash flow. So as for Calgary, you know, we don't really specialize in it. So
I think it's the same thing with the Alberta market. It's just like same thing as Vancouver. You don't have much land to develop.
Yeah,
it's mountains and stuff. Like Calgary itself is like kind of flat, but like most of Alberta is like out mountains, and like, you know, it's the kind of same thing over there. And the weather obviously makes it a little bit harder for them too.
Yeah.
But over here, like I feel like that. Remember the 400,000 number we talked about? Apparently, like 60 to 70% of them are coming to Southern Ontario.
Yeah. Yeah.
So most of the 400,000 that are supposed to come to Canada are already coming here. So.
That's insane.
It's a little different.
Just to Southern Ontario. So we're looking at like London and Windsor, all those people coming in. And that's like our population right now is nearing 400 or something if you include all of Essex and all that. I think we're like at 350.
Vancouver 600. So
yeah, exactly. So like once we reach that number, could you imagine how high prices are going to get over here, right?
Yeah.
So let's see. We're going to look at one more question from YouTube here. Let me see. Bought and renovated a dupe. Why did the majority of real estate agents quit after 2 years? That's a good question. It's not as easy as people think, first of all. Like if you're successful, that's like a 60-hour-a-week job sometimes. Like I'm sure Gary can tell us a lot. Even more, yeah. And a lot of agents, like they have trouble getting leads. Like 90% of being a real estate agent is getting leads and marketing. So that's very hard for a lot of people. Like you're basically running your own business at that point. Yeah. So I that's my insight on why people quit. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, it's the leads part too for me too. Like if you don't have anyone to work with, you can work as hard as you want, like marketing as much as you can. Like you're not like, you know, you said time frames 2 years. I think if a person's gonna quit, they quit even earlier than that.
Yeah.
I mean, they realize it within a year that like, I'm not getting the markets, or I'm not like getting these people.
And it takes 3 months to like get a check at least, right? For closing,
even
right?
Longer,
yeah,
even longer,
exactly.
Like it's 2 months after closing. So then the closing is normally 2 months. So it's like 4 or 5 months after. Like
you don't get like, even if you're making a bunch of sales in your first like month, you don't get to see that money for like
another 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, if you're stable on the cash, like that's not that big of an issue. But for me, like I feel like most people realize like, hey, yeah, I'm just gonna make a sale, and like I'll have this much money. It's like, dude, how are you gonna make the sale? First of all, like, how are you gonna find the guy, right? Like, it's hard. It's not easy. Like people, I don't know if any of my clients are watching me live right now. Like they'll be seeing me send them emails at like 1 a.m. Like it is a 60-hour job. Like I'll be running around all day throughout, like doing. Either we do video tours or showings or whatever it is.
Or lives.
Yeah, exactly, lives. And like we do that during the day, but like I still have so much paperwork to do at the end of the day, and a lot of people can't put up with that.
Right.
A lot of people have families and like, stuff like that. I'm a little younger on that side, so I don't have like any extra things to worry about.
Right.
So maybe that's why like I'm holding on to it for now, but not a lot of people have that flexibility. So
absolutely. I agree with that. It's a difficult job. If people think you just get that like $30,000 commission check like in your first month or whatever, right?
Yeah, you just think, well, like, I'll sell a house and I'll do that. It's like, you gotta find a house, you gotta find a guy who's willing to sell that house.
Yeah, you gotta make
so many things around it.
100%. Okay, so it looks like we are out of time now. We got 1.5 minutes left. I'm gonna see what we got here on TikTok. Okay. So I don't think we have time to answer any of these questions. Like these are going really in depth. These are all great questions, guys. Thank you for coming to the live. You're welcome, Rocky, for answering the questions. Sorry if we missed anyone. We got so many coming in on all these platforms. But these are really good questions, guys. So we have this live every Thursday at 7 p.m. Clark is with us sometimes. Gary is with us all the time because he's got nothing better to do, obviously, other than make deals. He's biting his tongue right now.
We're about to go off in like 30 seconds.
I know.
I'll take care of it after.
So I mean, we got Gary and Clark joining us. Lots of real estate insights on the Windsor market, Canada market. So if you guys want to join us for next week, be here Thursday, 7 p.m. It'll be on Aditya's YouTube, Facebook, and my TikTok. So thank you everyone for joining us, and I hope you have a great weekend and rest of your week, and we will see you next week. All right? Okay, bye.